All right. We are recording.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Jabbering Jawas podcast with your host Joey Clark and,
Will, the thrill, Stafford.
or as we like to be known around here, Joey One Kenobi and Will Sith. Welcome back. We had a big surprise, obviously, this week in The Mandalorian. Some people, pretty much everyone here, liked it except for one, and they're all the shit out of me. And by the way, if you are under the age of 18 and listening to this, either put earbuds in. Or if your parents are cool, man, listen to it out loud and watch us talk about very bad things very badly. So yeah, um, pretty much all this week is the episode. Before we start, just a shout out to David Prowse. Thankfully, he lived a long life, but unfortunately, he passed away recently. So long live Darth Vader, and may the Force be with David Prowse always. Such an iconic person to the role, um, because it's not just the voice of James Earl Jones, it is really his physicality bringing it to the role. I will say, however, thankfully we didn't use the voice, because if anyone has seen the behind the scenes with him saying the lines as Vader, we would have never taken it seriously. So there's that. Um, yeah, I'm just glad that he lived a long, happy life and got to really interact with a lot of fans before he went and made a big impact. So, forever grateful for him bringing Darth Vader to life in the beginning. So, he rest in peace. Now the sad news is all out. I mean, Ahsoka Tano.
But first, they might already recognize our guest today because they've been on here before.
You fucking guess? Okay.
Yeah, there's two people. Did you see him?
You 2.5, because one is hiding behind the scenes.
Sure.
Oh, May.
Yes. We had Chris on the last episode. Chris as well. He's back. I mean, we're talking about
fair wife from the SCEVOLITANOSHOW. That's me. Look at my queen wave. I'm a queen, you know.
Talking about Ahsoka.
Rogue, whatever the fuck his name is now.
We tried to bring all the friends, and we brought back TEAMTANOALIVE, Eric and Audrey. Audrey is somewhere over there.
Yeah, how's it going? Audrey's right here, but she might be chiming in from like every once in a while.
The world beyond worlds.
Maybe I'll drag Patsy's ass here too. We'll see. She's hiding out that way.
Yeah, it'd be good to get her opinion and everything too.
We have 5 guests, because there's a half of Audrey, then a half of Patsy, because they're not on screen.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm kind of, before we get into the controversy, I guess you could call it, of Ahsoka, overall thoughts on everything else in the episode from you guys. What would you rate it out of 10 as far as Mando episodes?
Oh, Will's going first. I was like, who's going first?
Yeah, sure. So for me, it's a weird thing. So I like the episode overall, but I thought that the direction for it, in terms of like introducing Ahsoka, was a little weird. I watched it like 5 times, and yeah, the only issue I had with it was what she had to do in the episode, and like kind of the other characters that they were going against and everything. So it wasn't my favorite of the season, but I did like the action. I understand why some people had some issues with certain things, but overall I did like it. Like, I thought it was a fun watch. I actually appreciate it a little bit more every time. I can see him trying to put the subtleties of like Ahsoka in there and everything, and I think she'd have to get used to the part and everything, because I could tell that she's trying to deliver those and everything in a certain way. But yeah, we'll see. But overall, good episode. I think that's probably my second favorite of the season. I still like the Heiress the best, in my opinion. I just really like that episode.
Eric, what do you think? What's your rating on this episode?
Well, a rating? I don't know. I can't really rate it, but honestly, I really enjoyed it overall. Like, I knew that going into it, like watching Ahsoka, especially being played by someone else and in live action, it was gonna be an adjustment period. But after like thinking about it, like, oh, like, well, not everything's gonna be the same, and they could try to make it as similar as they can, but then they might be trying to force it. But overall, like, I like the sentimental moments with the Mandalorian and Ahsoka and Grogu.
Oh, Grogu.
My baby.
What's his name?
My baby.
He is so cute. Oh my god, I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
I like the name. It's cute.
I do too. It was a good name.
Chris, Eric, keep going.
Oh, honestly, I was gonna say everything. Honestly, like, there were like times where it was a little wonky, but I think watching it more than once will help with that. Especially when people have like problems with the fight scene with the magistrate or whatever. But like, I don't see too much of a problem with it, because like that like whole, like, even like Audrey was saying, the whole like Japanese like fighting thing, like it was like a samurai duel. It's like Star Wars,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me just say something. Okay, so when they first showed Ahsoka, I don't know, I was a little iffy about it. I didn't like how they introduced her. I thought it was a little, what did I say? I just felt like it was too much. Like, I wish they would have introduced her more in a more subtle way, not just her just coming out like zoo, 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 zoo. But anyways, I think overall it was good. I agree with, I already know what Joey is gonna say, and I agree with a lot what he's gonna say. Her Leku and everything looked kind of weird. And the makeup looked weird. But honestly, it's like, sorry, didn't prepare for this. You can't really blame them, because to be honest with you, like, imagine bringing Ahsoka to like live action. She is gonna look a little like wonky, you know what I mean? Not like wonky, but like a little weird. So I think for the most part, they did a really good job. Because I don't know, and I like Rosario Dawson a lot. I think she did a really good job for Ahsoka. Sorry, guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm hoping Patty does the same thing. She just pops out and goes, "This is what I think."
Patty, you're right there just munching on hot Cheetos. Come over here.
That's a good choice.
But I was going to do the exact same thing in a bit.
Anyway, thanks, Audrey. Chris, even though I said everything besides Ahsoka, people, obviously we're just going to talk about fucking Ahsoka.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
It really is. Well, I thought that it was my favorite episode, not just because Ahsoka was in it. When I had to watch it. Came out 3 a.m. here, and you texted me, Joey, right after I think watched it. You immediately texted me. He was like, "So ... And then I had to watch it again right after you texted me. I kept watching it, and I was like, "Well, I agree with Audrey. Like, I think she should have came out in a way that, like, she announces herself, like, 'Hi, my name is Ahsoka Tano.' Like, something nice and sweet. Mando goes to find her. There's no magicist, there's no magicist, there's no magic people going around. I wish they did that. That would be great. And to get just an episode of her and her history. I wish we got that. But we got who Grogu was. I love my little baby so much. He was so cute. He goes, "Huh? That's my name." Yeah, huh? Like, just so cute. Like, I kept just rewinding that scene because it was so cute, and how his attachment. I love that part where she does mention Anakin, but she doesn't say his name. I like Rosario Dawson a lot. I always did. I never had anything bad to say about her. Right, you're all right with the headpiece, but I saw on Twitter that they couldn't put the whole body part on her. They could have did CGI, they always did CGI with it. But it was too heavy for her to hold. Like, she couldn't be flexible with her arms and could not be fighting with that big. So that's my if about it, but I didn't care. I thought Rosario did a great job. To me, I know it's not Ashley, Joey. I know you're gonna say something. I love Ashley, like I always said, nothing but respect for Ashley. But Rosario, like they had a little interaction on Instagram. You know, I love that interaction with each other. I think Rosario did a great job. She had the mannerisms as Ahsoka, you know, her smile, her little iffiness about her, like how she shrugged and how she looked off. Like I kept very close attention on her because if I would tell you the truth, if I didn't like Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, I would definitely tell you. Like I'm #1 Ahsoka fan in the world. Sorry, Audrey. Sorry, girl.
Like she was like naturally cool without even trying. I really like that.
Yeah, like she was just like, you know, yeah, he has the Force, you know, and got serious. Like you could see how serious she got. And then with the fight scene too, she was just toying with that lady. And then when she lost the lightsaber and she switched the lightsaber around and held it in one hand and just went like this with it, like I was like, "You're dead, lady." I was like, "You're lost." Like after that, you're lost, and she was. I like how they added the loft cat in there because I knew something with Rebels was going to happen. When they add the cat in it, I was like, all right, where's Ezra or where's Thrawn? You know, or Sabine, like something's getting mentioned. And it's it, Thrawn. But overall, it was my favorite episode because not just because Ahsoka was in it, because we found out so much. And we always wanted to know about Baby Yoda and what he is. And, you know, he was trained by Jedi Masters and he could have been trained by Obi-Wan or Yoda, you know? So I really liked it.
Yeah. Just to go off of what you were saying about him being trained, has everyone seen that Attack of the Clones special edition thing where they added Grogu, like younglings?
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
if you
Oh, where he's hiding behind like one of the seats?
know where he's they like that training scene where Yoda's like teaching the youngling.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that was like, please do that because that'd be really cool as a special edition. I think it'd be awesome to see like what he would have done at a certain point in time. But
And I just have one more thing, Joey, before you start. One more thing. The baby doesn't talk. Like, and I don't know why. I don't know if his memory got wiped out. Well, I think it did when he got taken away from the temple. That's another thing. Like people were saying, like the baby's 50 and he was trained, but he doesn't talk. So I'm thinking, like, did he talk when he was trained, or he didn't talk at all? Because he just goes, huh? Bloop, 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 bloop. He just goes his little cute coos, you know. So he's just babbling. Like, so is he trained by masters, you know, that taught him to speak also, or he's just too scared to speak? Because if he speaks, then he's caught or something like that.
that's a potential thing. I felt like he was saying one word because I've heard a Star Wars word that sounded like something he was muttering. And I can't remember. I have to watch it again. But it does sound like he is saying this one word, and I can't remember for the life of me what it is.
So he might be speaking a different language, possibly.
I think, but all right. Now that all of you have spoken so fondly and positively, I'll be negative. I'm just feeling my devil horns coming out of me, or my Zabrak horns, whatever one. I see the potential, but it was not there for me. Here's the weird thing. If Rosario Dawson was playing a completely different character that was not Ahsoka Tano, I would have loved it. It feels like a different character to me, and it doesn't feel like it's quite there, even on a superficial level. The look alone, when I saw it, did not do it. It was just, I've seen better cosplayers, people that have to work within a certain budget, and you have this big studio that can't even nail it. To me, that is one of those things where it's like, what the fuck? It's very similar to the feeling of you have the sequel trilogy, you don't plan out a multi-billion-dollar trilogy, you have all of these resources. Hell, reach out to the cosplayers that have done it for years. You reached out to the 501 first, you have no problem with interacting with your fans. Like, even Call Me Snips has the big ass Leku that flex around and you can move in that look pretty damn good. And you have the people that can do it, so I don't want to hear an excuse. And then another thing too is like, it would be too expensive. Here's the thing. Most of the Mandalorian VFX are done in Singapore. They are not paid that well whatsoever in comparison to the VFX artists in America. So anytime anyone says budget is an issue and VFX are done overseas in another country, they're bullshitting you. And I've heard this from people in the industry. So budget is not a real fucking issue. So it seems really ridiculous to me. That's one of the things that making up excuses for shortcomings is not something you can do. It's just weird to me overall. And then, Chris, I kind of get what you're saying with she was playing with her in that sword fight, but I would have preferred something like in the vein of like that Obi-Wan Maul thing where she just does it quickly because you just want to see her.
Yeah, but I don't think she was trying to kill her because she needed the.
But just disarm.
Yeah, no, just disarm. But I think she wanted to play with her because I saw how they were fighting, and I was like, Ahsoka could take her, but she's not. I don't think she tapped into the Force at that time. You know, then she tapped in once she lost her other lightsaber in the pond. She was like, you know what, fuck this bitch. I'm gonna fuck her up now. Like, no, don't touch me. So I think that's what happened. Like, she was just going easy. Maybe she'll just like surrender or slip up, but she never did, the girl. So then when Ahsoka was like, all right, I gotta end this now, and then she did. She did just like what she did with Maul, threw the thing, like, you know what I mean, threw her down, not throw her down, but you know what I mean, disarm.
That's actually how I felt. I felt like Ahsoka was I don't think she was like, yeah, I didn't think she wanted to kill her. Kind of what Chris said. I thought she was just maybe like trying to see if she could get information out of her, or you know, just like toying with her. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's your Eric?
Well, the thing is that, remember, she's not fighting against a lightsaber. She's fighting against like a metal rod. And the thing about a metal rod is that it carries weight, not just in the hilt, but in the whole thing. The whole rod is metal. A lightsaber, if I think I'm right, only carries the weight in the hilt. So when you're fighting with a lightsaber, like two lightsabers hitting each other, like in Star Wars, most of like the recoil is in your wrists and in your arms. But when you're fighting against, like, imagine like a hollow, like, it's weird, like, because we don't have real lightsabers, so like hitting a metal rod with a lightsaber, most of the weight would go back to your wrist and arms. So I think the fact that she was fighting a different weapon and just trying to disarm her put her at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
So I will say, Joey, I think some of the issues that I had with it, I've watched it 5 times because I went online. Most people liked it, but there were like some people, and I was like looking at what they were saying. Some of it I felt like was a little nitpicky. They're like, oh, I didn't like this part of the outfit or something like that. I mean, I get that. Like, I didn't like the pants personally, but I also understand that they probably did that for practical reasons. Like, she probably couldn't move around as much in like tight pants. That's what I'm assuming they did that. But I thought she looked overall pretty good. I understand with the Liku that they weren't like that long. And I'm like, think about Shakti, and like she had the really long ones and all that. And like, yeah, she's older, that should probably be longer. I think that's something they can fix in the future without too much issue.
Yeah.
I saw people saying that she was too orange, but I feel like she's pretty orange. I don't know. She's pretty orange. So I didn't get that one. But I thought she looked good. Like, I thought she looked like a more mature Ahsoka.
Yeah, like a.
Yeah. Like Rosario Dawson and her lips and like everything, like I think they fit. I think they were going more for evolution of the Clone Wars Ahsoka. I don't think they really, in my opinion, from when I was looking at it, I don't think they really took in the Rebels Ahsoka into account really as much. Besides like the lightsabers and the cloak, like I was looking at her whole look and I'm like, she didn't really look like that Ahsoka in Rebels. So I'm not sure if they were taking that one into account as much.
That's what I wanted an Ahsoka cloak.
Yeah, she had the cloak and everything and the white lightsabers, which was cool. But something that Chris said, and like I said, I think that some of the issues were directorial issues, and I love Dave Filoni. I think he has an encyclopedic mind for Star Wars and, you know, writing and storytelling and all this. But I'm not sure as a director if he's quite there yet. Because making this episode, even though it was cool, making it like a Kurosawa kind of Japanese samurai thing, it did give it like a different feel than what you would expect for, like, she was kind of going around like, you know, murdering people and then like going to the shadows. and it was a little weird, like seeing her like start off like that. But I will admit it was cool. So it's like that's why I was on the fence about it. And then what Chris said is that we didn't really get anything about Ahsoka. You know, we didn't get anything about what she's been up to in the last 5 years. We got like, okay, she's probably still looking for Thrawn, which means she's probably still looking for Ezra. But like, what else did we learn about what Ahsoka's been doing? Like nothing. And that's kind of what we want to know. And I think that's the thing that was kind of weird. They're kind of using Ahsoka as a jump off point for the rest of this. And I get it. It's called The Mandalorian. But if you're going to have Ahsoka, then yeah, like you should have something about what she's been up to, what she's gone through. Because I also think that possibly the way she was fighting and how she was acting could be attributed to things that have happened to her over like the last 5 years, because we don't know what she could have gone through. You know what I mean? So that would have been good to at least a little bit of hint to know what she's been doing. I think would have helped with some context. Also, did you all see the Mirai?
Yes, my bird. My bird.
We were right, but it wasn't like at the very beginning when she was first introduced, but they did show her right before Mando found her. So I was like, oh, look.
I kind of
what that was. I was a little weirded because I was like, is that Morai? And I had to go back. I had to like go back and I'm like, is that just an owl just sitting there? I was like, I can't. I was sitting there. I was like, that's a Morai. And then they had the back shot of him and I saw his white stomach. And I was like, that's my birdie.
Yep. And I was like, beautiful. I love it.
I like the subtlety. The only thing is it was so fucking dark. You couldn't really make out the colors of it too well.
Yeah.
I wish,
Well,
like the we kind of imagined it, like you and I, how we were saying it would have been cool if it would have just flown by.
mm-hmm.
And like you just see her almost like Luke Skywalker, and then like her land on the shoulder.
What you're saying right there, though, is my other issue with the episode. I did not love that setting. I really kind of hated the place they were, and I get that like that lady like destroyed the planet, but when we were talking about it last week, I was expecting like a nice big trees and stuff, and it was just like really dark and like so much like fog and shit, and just like the color of it. I didn't love that, so that kind of bothered me. But I get it's supposed to be like a desolate planet now because she like fucked it up, but that kind of bothered me. I was expecting
lush green.
I mean, listen, that if you can do a planet like that, but then it still like looks nice. Good, like Dagobah. Like it was an interesting looking, you know what I mean? That's if it wasn't gonna be like a lush Kashyyyk kind of thing, I was expecting like Dagobah or something, you know what I mean? So that's why I was kind of like, I don't love the setting, but
well, they probably just wanted some variation. Like I thought the same thing at first too, but it kind of grew on me. And like the look of it was the least of my concerns. Like I still have a lot to say about Ahsoka, but yeah, it's just it kind of reminded me of certain things about the sequel trilogy and the fact that it felt like almost synthetic, where these are our version of the Empire, but we don't really give a shit because we don't really know why they're doing what they're doing. Here's our resistance, and there wasn't a whole lot of stakes, and it felt weird to me to not care about a character I've loved since the beginning. It felt really weird. And then, like you've all said, we don't get any backstory from her. We don't know why she's there except to find Thrawn. I will argue the point where I think she already has been with Ezra and Thrawn. I think Thrawn got loose somehow, and he's creating havoc and chaos. I think.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, because she was looking for him. She was like, "Where is your master?" Like she knew, like, where is he? So this lady was trained under Thrawn. So where is Thrawn? You know, like he's out there somewhere. I think she definitely knows where Ezra is, or she's just looking for Thrawn again to find Ezra. Maybe Ezra's captured or Sabine is captured. You know, we don't have a mention of that. But I definitely think she knows he's out there. She knows that where he is, and she just needed the information that I think this lady told her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. And then all the other side characters surrounding Mando, the child, and Ahsoka, like, I didn't really care about them. They were just kind of there.
Grogu? Thank you.
Rogue, fuck that name. I hate it. So I'm calling it the child from now on, or like the Mando does kid, because I like it so much better. And the other thing that I know that it was, Star Wars, it's supposed to be like the Japanese style of sword fighting, but the thing that I always liked about George Lucas and Filoni is when they have that playful banter when they engage. And the best playful banter, or some of the best, comes from Ahsoka, and the fact that she had nothing, not even like a little bit of something before they fought her while they were fighting was like, it felt weird for her not to say anything.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. They should have given her more lines that like Ahsoka would. I think even the older version of her, even she's been through shit, she's still gonna have some. She's Anakin. She was trained her Anakin. She's gonna have like her cocky like
herself.
You're lucky Anakin's not here. You wouldn't have lasted long, shit like that. She had like one moment that I did like when she hopped up at the very end on the thing. She was fighting those whatever those things are with the mask, and she threw the blaster at one and then looked at the other and just like smirked at him like, so you should probably run. And he just like ran away, and I was like, it would be nice to get like a line there, but like I thought that was a nice little Ahsoka-ish moment. So I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, that's true, huh? Yeah, also like Audrey's saying, Rebels, she's witty, but she's not as witty as she was in Clone Wars. It's kind of
like I felt like they were trying to show her maturity. So like how I took it when I was watching the new episode was that she came across as kind of like not cold, but like more like serious, kind of numb.
It's kind of like Gandalf.
Yeah, well, yeah. So like in the new episode, I took it as something probably happened again. Like she probably lost somebody else, because that happens. You've been through she's been through so much. By that age, she's probably super numb and serious. And then I took it as when she's looking for Thrawn, kind of like what one of you guys said, like something probably happened, and she's probably looking for Thrawn because, like, not to scare anyone, but like, what if Ezra, something did happen to Ezra, and she's all pissed, and she's like, "Where's Thrawn? Like, I'm gonna fuck him up," you know what I mean? So like, but yeah, I think that's why that's what I'm saying. I just feel like maybe they wanted to make her more serious to show you that how she's changed. I mean, you can't blame her. Like everyone's basically is gone, but we don't know where Sabine is at. But
yeah, and the last time we saw her, I mean, at that point, I think I forgot exactly when the end of Rebels was, but I think that the Empire was still around, and Anakin was still technically alive then.
Well, the end of Rebels is the epilogue or whatever the hell, the ending after Return of the Jedi, because they say that it fell.
It's after Return of the Jedi? Okay. So,
and when she shows up.
Yeah, all we saw was her in that cloak. So it's like, we don't know how Anakin's death affected her, if she kind of like, she probably honestly blames herself a little bit if you think about it, because she's like, could I have done more or anything like that, So.
Yeah, it's like when she tells Mando like, like she's seen what happens when remember when she's like, oh, I saw I've seen what happens to like a fully trained Jedi Knight, when she's referring to Grogu and like his anger and everything. So yeah, that's how I took it.
Yeah,
no, I mean, I took it that way.
And I saw people who had an issue with that scene, that she's like, oh, why, she said before that she doesn't follow the Jedi and this and that, so why is she not training him because of these old Jedi ideas?
No,
it wasn't about that. It was about Anakin.
Yeah, I think she wasn't. We all said she wasn't going to train him. She trained him very little. Like, she did train him. Like, we have to sit. She sat there, took her time, and was like, wield the stone. And he was like, yo, I don't want the stone. But with that, I think she will not train Grogu. She won't train him because she is a Jedi. She did say in the last scene that when you put him on the stone, it will call out to Jedi. He will pick his force and he will sense. A Jedi will sense. So right there, I was like, did she just say she's not a Jedi? Did she just say that she's not a Jedi? I don't know. But I think she was definitely going to train Grogu. But Anakin, I think that is still sentimental to her. So she doesn't want to go down that path.
Also, I had another thought. when I was thinking about all this, like her and from the end of Clone Wars to Rebels to here, is as far as I know, we don't know how she got the white sabers, right? Like, is there anything
I
that
think
they
I
wrote
think
or
she beat
anything?
the Inquisitor.
She an Inquisitor? Okay.
Yeah, and then she bled it that little
Okay.
the thing into white.
Because I almost wonder if maybe at some point she might have had the struggles with like staying on the light side or something, and then she would actually maybe she wasn't talking about Anakin, maybe she was talking about herself. She's like, the best of us can struggle with it. We don't know, and that's the thing. We didn't get like any hints really to what she's been doing. There could, I guess, been like subtle things in there, but yeah,
But I think going back to the name even for the episode, it's called The Jedi. And we're all, okay, Ahsoka. We know it's her episode. But what happens if the Jedi, is really Grogu? He was a Jedi.
and he's about to go to the temple on Typhon.
He is. He was trained for so many masters, during the Clone Wars. And then when the Empire rose to power, he was hidden, and sense darkness in him after that. So he was definitely trained with a lightsaber.
And that's definitely something that interested me. What does he just have like trauma? Like, did somebody like Palpatine or somebody block something in his mind? Because remember Yoda said that the dark side can cloud things. So like, did somebody cloud his mind to hide something? Did he block it off because it was like traumatic? Like, what is it? Who saved him from the? We assume that like a Jedi or somebody took him from there, but what if it was like Palpatine or somebody who worked for him took him from Coruscant? So that I will say the lore drops in this that we did get were really good.
Yeah,
that's something I really liked about the episode.
What do you think about Audrey was mentioned to me that maybe Mace Windu survived and he took Grogu?
It's a possibility, and people keep saying that. I keep seeing it pop up, and I'm like, where are they getting? I haven't like read or like watched any things about it. And I'm like, where are they getting this from? I feel like that's the only way you could think.
I don't think he
pointing back to
died. I really don't think he died.
Yeah,
I think
because
it's possible.
he could have survived that fall, and he might just look all fucked up now.
And Samuel Jackson is still the right age, obviously. So.
And he wants to really come back.
And I'd love to see that purple saber again. Well, would he still have it, or would he make a new one? He'd probably just make a new one.
Probably a new one, unless he found his discarded hands somewhere. Like,
somebody already sold that in fucking 1313 or something.
But also, we're looking at like Ezra. We're looking at Luke Skywalker. Even Cal Kestis can be named in one of these. But I think we're looking at a Jedi that we don't know about. I feel like at Disney and Lucasfilm, they know who we're knowing. They have to watch our videos and what we talk about. They must be like, all right, Luke Skywalker won't be in it. We're all saying Luke, we're all saying Ezra, we're all saying Cal, we're all saying Mace, But what happens if there's another Jedi out there that we do not know of, or a youngling that also survived Order 66, or just like Cal Kestis survived but is not coming out of the water because he is so scared? Even with Ahsoka too, I feel like she is still scared to come out. She's still scared of Order 66, and it's like she said at the end, like, and I watched videos after, and they were like, okay, this is like a point to Luke. This is a point to Luke. I don't think she knows Luke Skywalker. I think she's heard some things, but she has not know who Luke Skywalker is, has not met him. I think she's known that, okay, we know Luke Skywalker, that's Anakin's son, because she could still feel about who it is. Like, I can feel Anakin's energy off Luke, that has to be his son. And even Leia, but there weren't intentions like, okay, she knows who Luke is. No, she doesn't. I don't think she knows at all. I think she just said, well, there's not many Jedi left these days anyway, just like that. So I guarantee you she does not know about any other Jedi really out there. I don't think. That's my opinion.
Probably not. She probably well, no. Well, it's interesting that you brought that up though, because I actually watched a video the other day. It was talking about the Jedi who survived Order 66, and most of them were hunted down and killed by Darth Vader or his Inquisitors. But the one who I think is probably still alive, who I didn't think about, is Quinlan Vos, because he should still be alive. I think
he would be dead though.
Would he? Because I don't the last thing that happened to him, I think, was that the thing with the Asajj Ventress, right? And he went to the dark side and he went back. And then I guess there was a comic or something where he was on the list of Jedi that Vader wanted to find, but we don't know whether or not he found him or not. So that'd be an
But
interesting.
you bring up an interesting point also. He might choose this path, Grogu, right? But what
Mhm.
happened to Sith? A new Sith Lord that
Mhm.
senses. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be a Jedi.
And if Gideon has force powers, he's already tracking him. But I'm like, what if he just helps lead him there more? I don't know. I was just thinking about that. I'm like, or Palpatine, or I don't know. Like, who knows?
Like we're
I
all
was thinking that
saying,
too. I'm like, because he has to choose his path, and he
yeah,
might choose darkness. Yeah.
like we're all saying it's a Jedi, but it could well be known as Sith that we do not know about at all.
Yeah.
I don't think there's gonna be another Sith Lord. Inquisitor and Gideon maybe, but Sith I highly doubt. Long-lasting Inquisitor potentially because we don't know what happened to them. But here's the other thing too, is where it's a little. It's weird that she wouldn't know any other Jedi or seek out any other Jedi after the Empire's fall. I think it's really odd. And the other thing too, and I get what most of you are saying is with Ahsoka not being as playful in her banter and being more mature. Maybe she lost people, blah blah blah. However, we don't know that exactly. We don't have any of her backstory to this point. And the other thing that kind of confuses me is there's the rumors and whispers Rosario has signed on to do multiple projects or appear in multiple projects. So
Yes.
are we going to get the backstory in one of those, or are we going to get it in The Mandalorian? Because we only have 3 episodes left of this season. And I'm trying to figure out where the hell they're going to connect all of these different storylines. Or is it just, oh, here's Ahsoka in this, and then, oh, in January or February, hey, we have the Ahsoka show. She's not showing up in Mando again, but you're going to get this. So it's a little weird. From what I know from a pretty decent source, there's supposed to be a Rebels sequel series that's animated. I don't know, but then it's like it seems weird also too because it's like okay, here's Ahsoka here and here's Ahsoka here, and if both of them are not lining up when they're trying to do similar storylines, is another weird thing that gets into that. And then I don't think Grogu is gonna pick to be a Jedi because he's so close to Din.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him wanting to be away from him.
Yeah.
But you know what? Also, even with that connection, like Mando loves this child and the child loves Mando. We all know that, definitely. But I feel like Mando really wants this baby to be trained. Like he wants the best. So like, and the baby, I don't think can sense that. I don't think because I don't know if it does or does not. You know, we only got a little dialogue between him and Ahsoka could understand him a little. But like with that also, like when he puts him on the rock, like what is he supposed to do? Just like he's a baby. Like as we know of, he's a 50-year-old baby. You know, what is he really supposed to sit on that rock and do? Like wave his hands up in the air like he just don't care? Like we don't even know. Like we've heard of this planet before. We've heard of it in comics and stuff like that. But like you're just gonna sit Grogu on the stone and then he's just gonna wield out to the force, or he's just gonna sit there and have some macaroons and have some tea.
Yeah.
Does anyone find it interesting too that someone can lose their force abilities if they aren't trained?
Yeah, it's interesting that she said that they'll fade away. That I had not heard that before. You're right. I was like, that's interesting. But then again, you have to take into account Yoda's species. How long would it take for it to fade away? Like, is it different for him? They age different, you know what I mean? So it's like, how long would it take for that to fade away? Because he's already 50. So
And he was alive during Anakin's era.
yeah,
So
he's alive during then, and it's been still a pretty good while. So how long would it take them to fade away? You know what I mean? Especially if he's been suppressing them apparently for years now.
yeah, so he must know a lot. This child, he must know so much. But where was he? Like he even has a backstory. You know, like where has he been hidden all these years? You know?
And that's where I think whoever this other Jedi is going to come here, which I want to say it would be like Luke or Ezra or somebody like that, but I feel like it's going to be somebody that we expect less, maybe Cal Kestis or somebody different. They said in the Fallen Order there was apparently like a Rhodian Jedi like Padawan who also survived Order 66. So it could just be like some random Rhodian Jedi. Who knows?
Yeah, like we don't even know the Jedi's name, and maybe that Jedi saved Baby Yoda from the temple.
Mhm.
You know, and then maybe they can connect. That would be nice if that happened, but I don't think it will.
Yeah, because there are a few that I think should still be alive. And one I'm not going to speculate right now because it has nothing to do with this show. All right.
Like even with Jedi that were tried to be executed by Order 66, like we didn't get everybody's story. You know, we saw Plo Koon, Alis Secura, Kit Fisto. You know, we saw all those main Jedi down. But what happens if one of those main Jedi survived? You know, like got out just in time.
Yeah.
Or other plans.
So yeah, there's a lot of
what ifs.
There's a lot of questions here, and I think that's what might be worrying about the thing when you talked about like second trilogy. I think it's giving you Last Jedi vibes. I think that's what you're worried about. I'm not too worried about us being disappointed though by the rest of it, like Episode 9. This is Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, so I feel like it'll pay off. But I think that's what this feeling is. You're like, I'm not sure about this, and I can understand some people like kind of feeling like maybe Ahsoka's kind of giving like the Luke vibes in Last Jedi, but I don't think so. I don't think so. It's not like that.
No.
Because the problem was the episode didn't give her enough to do. She was just a jumping off point to whatever series or whatever she's going to be in next, or maybe the end of the season. I think that's what it was, and I think that was the issue. Whereas Luke was supposed to be a fucking like carrying that that episode, So yeah, it like I said, I think it's some weird directorial choices on Filoni's part, and it could have been done a little bit better. But
I also think Dave Filoni has a plan. You know, we watched the episode and there wasn't a lot. You know, there was a lot of not dialogue that we wanted. You know, but I think Dave was like, you know what, I'm not doing that. You know, I'm not giving them, because we're having some more things. It's like this is his character. You know. And like a lot of people said, we loved the choreo. We loved all this episode. Some people hated it. You know, I read a lot of comments. I read a lot of love. You know, and I just looked at everything and I was like, you guys got to have patience. I was like, this is the first time we're getting her. You know, this is the first time we're going to see a Thrawn 2 in live action. You know, I guarantee you he'll appear in live action. You know, and Ezra.
Yeah, you know, something I thought about, because this is a weird situation. Most of the things that we've gotten have been live action, and then they made them animated. This is the first time we're getting a beloved character who was animated, and now they're making them live action. You know what I mean? And it's a Jedi on top of that, and she's an alien. So I kind of knew that it was going to be weird, because like if you think about any of the other alien Jedis we've gotten, it's been like the people in Attack of the Clones who all they did was take their lightsaber out and they were like half CG and they didn't really do much, or the ones who got fucking immediately killed by Palpatine and you're like, oh, okay, I remember him from Clone Wars. He's dead now. That's cool. So it's like, I think it's the first time they actually have an alien Jedi who's like an important character that they have to like try and do shit with. So it's not going to be easy, you know? It's like they did pretty well with like Darth Maul, I'd say, but then he was created for that and they made animated. So it's like, I don't know. I think it's a weird transition with that. Because even they had Shak T before, she didn't really do anything, you know? So it's like,
then I feel like you can't do it to a point where it's truly solid, then just don't use that character. I would have honestly rather just kept her animated until you can reach a point where you can do it all the way and not miss out on a lot of aspects of it. But that's my personal thing. I think it's cool, and I'm not gonna hate any of you guys for loving it or whatever. I think.
Wait, why do you hate me?
I don't know. And part of me, the same thing with Filoni. Obviously, he's an awesome animation director. his first Mando episode, I don't really care for, but it's his live action debut. I kind of wish he didn't direct this episode, at least not the whole one. If he just directed Ahsoka, I think would have been better, or at least a consultant. But to direct the whole episode, especially when there are pieces of this that are really important, I think if he was just a consultant, I think it would have been better, honestly. I do see the potential. I hope it is better. And here's the thing with, and I know people that are close to Ashley, and then people are saying, oh, look, she's reaching out through Twitter. I bet you anything Disney said, hey, can you do this, please, to just shut these people up? Because it's happened before with other things. I honestly think that. Not saying Ashley's not a great person. She is one of the best, and I love her to death for it. But I can't imagine her being very pleased with that iteration of her character.
But I also think, going on to that, I also think, like we said last week, that she was never given an opportunity, like an interview. You know, she was never given an audition. But I don't think Dave would just say, you know what, fuck this, you know, fuck Ashley. I'm not even gonna like talk to Ashley about this. I guarantee you they had conversations. You know, I definitely think like Dave wouldn't be like, you know, Ashley played the Ahsoka for so many years, you know, I'm just gonna say, let's go, Rosario, how you doing, girl? You doing all right, girl? You know, I don't think he would just be like that. You know, I think Ashley definitely was in contact with Dave, you know, and maybe not the way like we all want it to be, you know, like, oh, her handpiece has to be like that. Like her head has to be like that. No, because Dave created the character, you know, Ashley is the voice of Ahsoka Tano, you know? So I definitely think Ashley was definitely in contact with Dave, or Dave was in contact with her about the situation. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
I've heard that are really reliable, not really. And even, I know this was still a bit ago, but Ashley said that there was no involvement on her part with it. So it could have changed between now and that time that was months ago. But here's the thing, especially about film industry stuff, and I don't hate Filoni for this at all. It's really cutthroat. It's to be expected. And it sucks because, you know, and here's the other thing I will say. It has nothing to do with it not being Ashley for me personally. I love every single iteration of Obi-Wan Kenobi. I love Ewan McGregor is my favorite. I love Alec Guinness. I love James Arnold Taylor, and I love Steven Stanton. The reason I can love all four of them and appreciate each contribution to Obi-Wan is because to me, I feel the spirit of Obi-Wan Kenobi. I feel that character in each iteration, and I think they all nailed it. This just doesn't do it even on a look basis for me. When I see the shots of her from behind, like I feel like that's her, but as soon as she starts speaking, it just doesn't seem right to me. That's me again. But, and it's weird, like I said, I feel like if it was a different Togruta Force user, I would have been okay with it because the performance is there, but it feels more like, it's kind of like Mace Windu, where it's Samuel L. Jackson as a Jedi. This just feels like Rosario Dawson as a Jedi or Force user. It doesn't feel like a character that we know. But I think a lot of people too, I'm not saying you guys, but it's kind of like, we finally get because that was a lot of comments I heard was like, I'm just glad we got her in live action. It's like, well, I would want her in live action, but the best version possible. Just like Luke Skywalker. Yeah, he returned, but in The Last Jedi, he really, really sucked. So, not saying it's as bad as that. Like I said, I still see potential, and I'm willing to change my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and like I don't think I said during this. I was saying before this, I kind of felt the same about when they first put Maul into Clone Wars. I really kind of hated him at first, like what they did. I thought that his voice sounded kind of weird, and I was like, why is he like talking so much and being weird? And of course, he showed up as a giant spider thing, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, what the hell is this? But then a few episodes later, he got to be like actually you kind of got to see more of like the character we know Maul as now. And I was like, okay, that's better. So I was like, what the hell was all this shit when he showed up? I was like, so like Star Wars, we know is not immune to missteps at first. Like there'll be people with mixed feelings about certain characters. I think even if something's great, they're gonna have mixed feelings about it, you know. But yeah, and I think it's also good that you don't feel the same way, so we're not just here, you know, having the whole episode where we're like, it was the best thing that we've ever seen. You know, I think there's some criticisms, and we can definitely hold Disney and Lucasfilm to that, and we should, because otherwise, if we don't, then I mean, I feel like we did during Last Jedi, and it still happened. But if we don't, we get it right to Skywalker. So it's like, yeah, you gotta hold them accountable. You gotta, you know, say like, hey, you could probably change this. And you know, the other people on the internet, like, if people don't like it, let them don't like it. If they do, you know, whatever, like, let people like or don't like that's their opinion. Because you know, you'll see people on the internet like, well, fuck you, you know, you just hate this because of this, and you know, just all these like things that have nothing to do with like why people like this or hate it. And it's just like, it's, you know, people have their reasons. You know, if it's because of something stupid, then fine. But you don't have to sit here and try to convince them otherwise. Like, it's whatever.
I got called toxic so much for even just constructive criticism. It's like, no, it's not toxic. It's just a different opinion. Even, I don't know if you guys knew Christian Harloff, but he's a big movie reviewer. And I even commented like, I didn't really care for it. To me, it just didn't feel right. And then some guy was like, "You're just a fucking toxic fan." And I was really happy because Christian Harloff backed me. I was like, "No, he just has a different opinion, man." And I'm like, "Thank you. I appreciate that, man." And then the guy kept still trying to call me toxic, and he still was defending me when he's a really busy guy. So I appreciated the fuck out of that. But it's like, yeah, I don't think if you have a difference of opinion, that's fine, especially if there's something you don't like. Because to me, we're consuming the content. We pay for the content. You're allowed to be critical of it. You're not allowed to be a dipshit and be a dick.
Yeah.
But to me, like the one thing I did say that I felt a little bad for and I retracted it was that it felt like a fucking fan film. I still kind of feel a little bit like that because she seems so out of place as far as the quality of the look of her compared to everybody else. It seemed a little off when you compare everything else in scene. She does seem a little out of place, but like you said, Will, it's bound to happen. But it's again one of those arguments where it's like, then did we really need Ahsoka and the Mandalorian at this point if it can't be new?
Yeah, that is something that I question. I'm like, did they kind of shoehorn? It was nice for Ahsoka to be in there. I'm not that mad about it, but do we honestly need her for this? Could there have been in some other way that he gets to this planet? I don't know. Like, it was interesting to have her there, but it is called the Mandalorian, and that we talked about this before on here. It's like you run the risk of it not being the Mandalorian if you have too much of other characters. So it's like, yeah, it's like, and I like how they did it with Bo-Katan and everything. She came in there, we know what the fuck, you know, she was doing there and what she's been up to, and then she went to go, you know, complete whatever mission she needed to do, which was get her darksaber back and shit. We understood that. And I don't think we really got that of like what's a like Ahsoka was there and we know she's looking for Thrawn, sure. But it's like what have you been up to, Ahsoka? Like we want to know, you know? That's like the main issue that I had. I'm just like, she was very cryptic. I don't think that she was given enough to talk about or like show her personality in the episode. She's kind of like, there was some warm moments, especially between like her, Grogu, and Mando. There was like some warm moments where I saw it like shine through, and she was like giving that warmth and like, oh yes, you know, his name's Grogu. Make sure you say his name. And they even threw a line in there that I actually kind of liked when she was like, that would be a first. And she was like, I like first. No matter how they go, they're always memorable or something like that. Or good and bad, they're always memorable. I like that. So there were some moments in there that I really liked. Yes, overall, I think there were some directorial things that could have been changed up.
Yeah, I'm gonna poke Eric with a stick. What do you think about everything we've been talking about, or any other thoughts?
Like, I don't know. Like, I honestly like I really like the performance, like for what it was. I do agree that some things could have been changed, and maybe like they didn't need her in the series either. But like overall, like I'm just glad that she was there because I don't know. I just really like Ahsoka, and I know you do too, and you have your opinions. But I'm glad that she showed up because like it was fun to see her. Yeah, it was a change. It was a change of pace, you know.
Yeah.
So I have a question. I have a good. Like Joey said, a Rebels sequel series, a spin-off series, and Ahsoka Tano will be in it. But what happens if it's a live action? You know, we're getting we got a little Rebels vibes here. You know, we got the Loth Cat, we got Thrawn. Do you think it will be a live action show instead of an animated series?
I'd say no, just because there are more characters that haven't been shown. And I don't know, it seems weird that you would do the first series animated but not follow through animated. It's
Yeah.
a really weird transition, especially having to introduce even more characters to live action to make that series work.
Mhm.
I think we can see select Rebels characters in other series down the line, though. And the other thing too is, and I'll do a follow-up question. You guys can respond after Chris's. I'm willing to see where Rosario's performance goes, but I wouldn't bet a whole series on Ahsoka Tano just from this performance. I'd want to see more of it before I say, all right, we can give her a whole series in live action.
Yeah.
The whole series animated because I know it'll be solid. This, like, I don't know.
Yeah, because no matter what you say, it's going to be hard to do Ahsoka live action. Like I said, she's the first Mandalorian Jedi, and I think somebody said that Rosario Dawson actually chose to do her own stunts, apparently, which is admirable. But at the same time, you at some points you probably want to get like, because I don't know who they did for the last 4 episodes of Clone Wars, but they did that like motion capture, right? The fight with her and Maul. You might want to get that person who did something like that, like the stunt double, so she can do some of those more athletic things. 'Cause I think some of them things look a little awkward in the fight. It was cool, but I think it would have been good to get a stunt double for certain things too, because it would have been cool. But that I heard, I don't know if she did or not, but I heard that she apparently tried to do the stunts herself.
Let me try and look it up real quick because I know who did it.
Yeah, and then to answer Chris's question, yeah, I don't think that they would do a live action. Number one, because of what Joey said. Number two, because of the situation that we are in right now. And I know that they go like all over the fucking world and they have their little, you know, private studios and all this shit. But I think they're gonna just go ahead and do an animated because I feel like it's already like tough enough. And I know that they have the resources and everything, but I feel like it's already tough enough in this 2020 and even going in 2021 because this isn't gonna end anytime soon, probably, unfortunately. Yeah, I think right now it would be easier to do animated as well. So I think that's why they're gonna go with that. I do think though we might see an updated, maybe more mature look for Rebels, maybe closer to Clone Wars, because that was my only thing about Rebels. Really, was they had the filler episodes. There would be a lot sometimes, and then the art style was a little weird sometimes, depending on which character. Like Yoda looked weird. I wasn't a big fan of Darth Vader's like really sharp, pointy helmet, but yeah. Like, other than that, it was fine.
What are your thoughts, Eric?
I don't think they're gonna do a live action Rebels either, because because the first one obviously was, and then it just seems well, the thing is I'm not sure because it was weird that you get Ahsoka in live action and she's like in the middle of her journey to or trying to find Ezra, and then like you go back to animated and she's still trying to find him or something. But it's weird, you know. It's like why would they put her in there unless they're gonna use her again in the future?
I think that makes. I think it makes sense then what Joey and Chris were saying. Well, I think what all you guys are saying is that right now she's probably looking for Thrawn again, that probably makes more sense right now because just timeline wise, that she probably already found Ezra with Sabine, and then maybe Ezra and Sabine are somewhere else now. So timeline wise, I think that probably makes more sense. She's probably looking for Thrawn again. He probably escaped or something, or they thought that maybe him and Ezra, like you said last week, maybe they fought out of wherever the fuck they were together, him and Ezra, and they thought like, oh, maybe Thrawn would be a good person now, and he's like, nope, I'm gonna go help this lady destroy some planets, and then yeah.
I got a question for all of you because I can't believe I didn't think about it till now. What if it is a live action series and it's not based around Ahsoka or the Rebels? What if they're going to do something in the vein of Heir to the Empire with Thrawn as more of the main thing, and then you can do a younger Luke Skywalker, you can introduce and have Ahsoka at certain points and other Rebels characters. Not saying they're going to pull everything from Legends, but now that we know that he is post Return of the Jedi alive out there, what if they do something like Timothy Zahn's original trilogy?
I wouldn't want them to do that because, like, what are they gonna do? CGI Mark Hamill?
That's a tough question. A lot of people have been saying like Sebastian Stan possibly because he kind of looks like Mark Hamill.
But then it won't be. But then you're gonna have people going like, oh, he doesn't. He just
yeah, exactly. It's gonna be like the Solo situation. It's gonna be a little weird. So yeah.
Felt like they might. I'm sorry to answer. Going back to a little bit of Chris's question, I personally thought that there's a chance they might do a live action like Rebels continuation, just because. I mean, they introduced the Darksaber, Ahsoka. Then there's like there's that actor, right, that they're saying that's gonna be like Ezra, or people are dropping hints, and usually those people are kind of right. So I don't know. I feel like, and then I feel like if they did continue Rebels, it would probably be better to be live action because we have to remember a lot of people do not watch the animations. Like a lot of people. Like I rarely meet someone in person. Like obviously like you guys, but we're like online friends. But like in real life, like I do not meet people that watch animations. So I think maybe they're thinking, well, what if we introduce Ahsoka, the Darksaber, and Mandalorian and Bo. Yeah, then we introduce Bo. We're gonna get a bunch of a new crowd of new fans to like it, and then we could just continue Rebels, and then they're gonna go towards that direction, and you know what I mean? Like it would actually be a very good way to get more fans on board with like Rebels.
Yeah.
And anime series.
Because just
Joey,
like
oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, just like Audrey said, like when I do my podcast and people say, well, I can't talk about Clone Wars or Rebels because I haven't watched it.
Mm-hmm.
And how haven't you not watched it? That's like the most important two shows to watch. You know?
Because Star Wars fans are kind of like casual, like, and then too, there are still a lot of older fans that just don't care about the animations. Like they just shit on them. Like they just automatically look at them and go, ew, like why does Ahsoka have bug eyes? I don't know. Like
it's just cartoons to them.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to convince people to watch something that they're like, oh, that's just a cartoon. I don't want to see that, you know? It's tough. And I think Joey even said before that you'd like to see Clone Wars in live action. That would be interesting too.
Yeah. If you were to just have other episodes, it'd be awesome. But I get where you're coming from, Audrey. I do. The only issue, and it's kind of the same thing that like we're the diehards, we're the hardcores, we know everything. And like you said, Audrey, there is a majority where there's the casual fans where they only will watch live action. I've had this discussion with Matt Martin where he's like, you and me are like the 10% that really give a fuck and watch everything. And I was like, it's true. The only issue though is then you have to reestablish all of these characters in live action because that stigma will probably still be the same where people aren't going to go back and watch. Some might, but it's a hard sell still because like, oh, it's just animation. So then you have to reestablish all the characters in live action. And the way that these series are, they're only 8 episodes, so that already takes up a good episode or two. And then it just seems like a bit of a mess to me personally. I feel it is easier when you go from live action to animation because you don't run the risk it's really weird. Like I feel like they've created issues for themselves and they haven't dealt with them yet.
But then you could also say that like if they brought in legend stuff, it would be really hard to introduce those huge storylines to new fans, you know? Like for instance, like especially like Heir to the Empire, like how are they going to like I mean most people like okay, so like most people didn't even know who Thrawn was until Rebels, right?
Yeah.
So now we kind of know who he is. And then so could you imagine a casual fan that literally started watching The Mandalorian because they think Baby Yoda's cute, and then they started watching Mandalorian because they think it looks cool, and then you start like then they make another live series, and it's from Legends, and then that's a book series. Most people do not like to read books, you know what I mean? Like you could say the same thing. You get what I'm saying? Like for instance, like even like Mara Jade, like.
Mm-hmm.
If you would introduce her, people would be like, who the hell is that? Oh, that's, you know, that was Luke Skywalker's, you know, enemy and then love interest and wife. And then she was killed by, you know, Jason. And they're going to be like, well, what the heck? Like Luke had a love interest. And then they're going to want to connect it to like the sequel trilogy. It's going to be a huge mess. So I don't think they would go into Legends just because that's going to be like crazy. Because even now, like when people talk about like the Old Republic, like most people haven't played the video game. So like, or read the books, you know, so it's like, you get what I'm saying? Sorry, guys. I'm like,
That's all good. I'm
glad.
glad.
So I'm like all awkward.
I think the argument to be made for that, though, is there hasn't been a visual adaptation of it. And I think because we already have Thrawn in the universe, I don't think it's because, I mean, Heir to the Empire, there was nothing preceding that era. So if you introduce him into that era again, like I wouldn't say a straight up Legends thing, but just something in the vein of that, because originally Thrawn never appeared until post episode 6. So you could do the same thing kind of where he's still helping rebuild the Empire. And like you said, no one really reads the books, which is why I think it would be a little bit easier because it's an unknown character to put him in, running the risk of fucking up a beloved one.
Yeah, it's funny.
Loved in a smaller circle.
Yeah, it's funny though that like she was talking about how a lot of people wouldn't know Thrawn because until they saw Rebels. But that's the other thing she talked about. Like a lot of people didn't watch Rebels, and I realize this now like a lot more because I'll watch for like really big episodes of something like a show that I like. I'll watch like people's reactions or something online because I just want to see what they say about it and what their like thoughts are. And a lot of people, when she went like, "Where's your master? Where's Grand Admiral Thrawn?" They're just kind of like, "Oh."
Yeah. I didn't like that. I didn't like that scene.
They didn't know who he was.
I actually didn't like that scene. I wish she would have just said Thrawn. I don't know. For me, I just feel like it seems so forced.
Yeah.
Like if I'm talking about him, I'm not gonna be like Grand Admiral Thrawn. Like no, where the fuck's Thrawn? Like you know what I'm talking about? There's no other motherfucker named Thrawn around here. Like you know what I mean? Where's that blue bastard? Like.
I think they did that for the sake of people who don't know who he is. Yeah.
So they could
and they're like
into Wikipedia. They're like,
oh, she's looking for a Grand Admiral, so he's some Empire guy. So that's like, but a lot of people did not see Rebels, like you said, and they did not understand that references. Like,
where's that bloodshot eye Smurf?
They're looking him up, and then his blue face just pops up, and they're like, ah.
Yeah. The red eyes, all like the big extra evil looking one. Yeah.
Get a blue macaroon.
Yeah. And I love that Audrey brought up Old Republic because I did want to talk about that for a bit. So they're going to Typhon, which is a reference to the Old Republic game.
It is.
Where that's the planet you start on, and you do all your Jedi training. So that's interesting to me. I'm like, is there anybody else on Typhon? Well, apparently not, because she said that Jedi might come to you, and I'm assuming that Ahsoka has been there, which is another thing, which I'm like, wow, I want to know why Ahsoka's been traveling to these places now. I'd like to know that, but maybe we'll get that later. But
run into Luke while traveling. I mean,
yeah, maybe. And then I'm like, and who's the Jedi? Who's gonna show up? Who's gonna be? Could be Luke. Who knows?
I was messing with Eric, and I'm like, wouldn't it be so funny? Well, wouldn't it be funny? But like, let's just say like Luke finds Grogu or whatever, and then he trains him, and then like in the sequel trilogy where Luke has his like temple where he's training, and then Kylo goes in and kills him. And I was like, what if that's how Baby Yoda just dies? Because he was in there. Like... Wait, what?
You know what, Audrey? Get off the
I was like, wouldn't that be like so messed up that we get like this whole show about him, and then later it just ends with doo. He died when Kylo had his fit. Sorry, guys.
It's weird. The comic book. Here's the fucked up thing about the sequel trilogy. So we all think that Kylo destroys the temple, but then in the comic book series, we learn it was.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we find out. Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. So like, but most people who saw his movies thinks that he just killed a bunch of people, but he really didn't. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
Which makes no fucking sense. Like, it makes more sense if he would have and it made it sound like the Knights of Ren were people that were from the temple that ran away with him, and then the comic. It's like, which fucking...
Yeah, okay. I remember when they came out with the comics and they changed it a bit, and I was like, well, then what was the whole point of the movies?
Mm-hmm. It's weird.
Oh, did you guys talk about? I'm sorry. I feel like Joey like hates me sometimes because I always go off board. But I'm like, oh my god, the holiday special, the Lego one, it was so cute. I died.
I actually still haven't watched. Go watch it.
You haven't watched it yet? It's so good. I actually really liked it.
Yeah.
The World of Worlds.
I heard it's good. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I keep it.
Oh, that's
I change the subject. Okay, sorry.
So yes, like I said this before, they keep having Old Republic references in this show, and I feel it in my bones. Like Revan is gonna show up in some way. I just know it.
Okay, but we talked about this, Will. Remember when we said that like they're dropping hints that they are going to do the Old Republic, but I kind of just don't want them to. Remember we talked about it, that they feel like they might mess it up.
Yeah, it depends on who's doing it. Let's say that.
Do you guys think it might be a way to introduce it, and then it's like before the time of Mandalorian and Grogu sitting on top of some fucked up rock?
See, here's the thing: he's gonna take Grogu to the Seeing Stone or whatever, which I don't remember if that was a thing in the game or not. I can't remember. I remember there was like something you climbed up and you like made your lightsaber up there, so maybe it's the same place. I don't know.
Maybe he can make a lightsaber. Maybe he knows, because we don't know what Grogu went through during the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I'm like, does he have a tiny little lightsaber? That would be cute as shit.
I would want that.
Imagine Grogu just coming at you, this tiny little lightsaber. I don't know.
I would let him kill me on purpose. I would just go fucking stab him.
Chris would be like, I'm so proud. Just take me down.
I'm so proud that you're striking me down as a do it.
But it would be interesting because she was talking about how he has that darkness or whatever, the memory or whatever that she can't see. What if we see it next episode when he takes him up there? Because we know that when Force users go to places of like a lot of like a high amount of like Force,
like Yoda,
like
they have visions. Yeah,
like the Clone Wars when Yoda went back, I think on Dagobah. There was Dagobah, and then Qui-Gon was leading him towards, and Qui-Gon actually just told him Yoda had a dark self and stuff like that. So maybe we'll see that. Like maybe Grogu will face his old self, or maybe we'll find out like through his vision. Maybe Mandalorian will help him through the vision or something like that. We don't know. I don't know.
Will this like unblock?
Are you going with us? Sorry.
I'm saying, will this like unblock something in his mind and make him will he talk again? Will he like come out of the little temple and be like, "Hey, what's up, Dad?" I don't know.
No, that's me. I'm his father, Will. So stop playing with me, man. If he's coming through, if he's going on that stone, I'm coming out. Just white guy, just smile with $50 macaroons in my hand.
I don't like that they added those cookies. It was a little awkward.
It was definitely some product placement. It's gonna be in.
Dude, it is like I remember
when let's be real.
When they placed Coca-Cola and Sprite at Galaxy's Edge, I was like, okay, Coke is cool because Coca-Cola is a superior soda, but I'm just kidding. But anyways, like Sprite and everything else, like I was like, that's a little unnecessary. And then when I saw they added the cookies, I was like, why do I like that?
for sure there's gonna be a Galaxy's Edge soon, if not already.
No, but they're selling them now. Did you guys not see that?
Yeah,
Are
but like
they?
$50 though.
That makes
Bullshit.
sense.
$50, 12.
Really? Oh my gosh.
And it's
12.
Williams Sonoma. It's like, how many fans are like rich enough to buy that shit? Like, come on. $50 cookies.
I'd rather just make something that looks like it and then place it next to like my Grogu. But honestly, I think this whole series though is not like I think it's a setup. Like I think by the end of the show, either Mando's gonna die or someone's gonna die, and that's what's gonna be like the big thing that Mandalorian like sacrifice themselves to save, like, you know what I mean, like a Jedi or whatever. Or and I think Baby Yoda's gonna take the dark saber. I don't know. I think something OP is gonna happen where he's gonna be holding the dark saber at the end.
You
And
talked about him,
like I
Joey talked about him becoming the first Mandalorian Jedi, possibly. So
Yeah,
yeah, dude. No, yeah, dude. Honestly, I think that's what's gonna happen. I think they're gonna make it like crazy, and that's why they keep saying like, the new episodes coming out and continuing on, like crazy stuff's gonna happen. I think that'd be so sick though. Imagine.
I have a question for all of you. Do you think, obviously, Force users have abilities that are a lot different compared to normal people? Do you think if the child taps into the Force again, he won't be really like a child? He will be more mobile. He'll be more.
like Yoda.
Yeah, like how when Yoda does tap into the Force, he's fucking quick and crazy with the lightsaber. Do you think that's possible for the child if he retaps into it, or when he does, he is more mobile and can keep up?
I think he's gonna be uncontrollable, probably. Not uncontrollable, but I think he's gonna struggle.
No, I definitely think he's going to struggle from his fears. I don't know why he's fears, because I think Mando's so happy that he's like using the Force and everything. So I don't know why he has that fear. Or maybe if he gets taken away, Din won't come back. We don't know what he's really fearing, you know? We just know that he has attachment to Din. That's all we know. We don't know why. We know why he has attachment to him, but we don't know why he has a darkness to him. So I think that goes back to the Clone Wars. You know, that goes back to when he was hidden away and someone took him and maybe wiped out. You know, we don't know who he was trained by. You know, we don't know what his path were. You know, maybe when he gets put up that stone, he doesn't choose a path. You know, he just wants to be a baby forever. You know, he doesn't want to talk to people. You know, maybe he'll talk, you know, next episode. You know, we don't know what this baby is thinking. You know, he's 50 years old, has so much knowledge, you know, but he doesn't have it. He doesn't show it. You know, we just think he just eats macaroons and, you know, goes on the Razor Crest for roller coasters. You know, we just think that.
What if he is just a baby? I mean, Yoda was super old. Maybe just like their species just like grows really, really slow. Like, what if he is just straight up is just as a baby for like the whole series?
Yeah.
Because it's weird because Will and I were talking about the math. Yoda is 900, so if you divide 900 divided by 50, that's 18. So the child should be acting kind of like a teenager, unless they have sporadic growth spurts. Like if it's like baby Groot to teenage Groot overnight.
But wait, now I got something.
I just remember that scene. That's a funny scene.
Open like my brain and knowledge. What happens if he's under like a spell and he can't talk?
Yeah, that's what I was kind of alluding to. I'm like, what's the dark cloud in his mind? Is it because of his trauma, or did like somebody like Palpatine put it there?
Like maybe like, you know, I don't know if his Ventress was there. Maybe a Night Sister took him.
Maybe.
You know, we have that
anybody.
Order. You know, we have that lady, I don't know her name in Fallen Order, but we have her, a Night Sister, you know. And then like maybe he can't talk because he like, I don't know why, but Ahsoka would say that, I think, because Ahsoka did talk to him. So I don't know, like I could just be spilling out stupidness right now. But what if that's like the case? Like he can't talk because he's trapped like inside of himself, or he can't find his way out. You know, he needs help. He's that's why he's like not telling Mando. He's not telling Mando anything, but like maybe he's trying to get somewhere, because even at the end of the episode, we see like him and Ahsoka having like like a nod to each other. Like they're still talking. Like I don't even know how she can understand him. And she smiles and then just looks up and she walks away. And I feel like she knows more, but she's like, these people know more. Like, she's like Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan knew more like of the child, but she didn't tell him. Like, so I'm hoping on this planet we find more out about Guru. Like I hope we do, because every episode, like we're getting down to nothing really. Like what's next for this show? Like what is next?
Yeah, that's definitely it's always our biggest question about this show is what's the end game? And Audrey is bringing up, maybe it's just to introduce all these other things. I'm like, there's got to be some sort of end game for this show. I hope. So we're just wondering where it's gonna possibly end the series. Like I don't know that, and I think it will heavily have to do obviously with Mando and Baby Yoda or Grogu. Sorry. But I have no idea what direction it could possibly go. I don't know if this season will give us some possibly definitive paths of where it's going to go, but we'll see. Yeah.
I don't know how you all feel about it, but the one thing that is a little disappointing to me, and it feels like Rise of Skywalker, where every single episode seems to be find this thing. You found it, but now you have to find another thing. It seems like scavenger hunt in Star Wars, and it doesn't seem to have any kind of resolution.
Yeah.
Which is starting to get a bit tiring and annoying from a storytelling standpoint. Because at least with Clone Wars and Rebels, there are things that feel accomplished and they are resolved. None of this show has really felt accomplished and resolved, because it's like when we get Ahsoka,
we found out his name.
That's not worth jack shit. No, I'm kidding. But it's like, and it's a terrible name. But
cute name. Me and Eric are gonna name our dog Grogu when we get a puppy.
Name it Chris though. Chris is a better one.
You gotta get a puppy with like really big ears. Like huge ears.
But it just doesn't feel like there's any. I hope we get more of a resolution by the end of this season. At least something more.
But what you just said, Joey, like I was doing that during this episode when I watched it. I was like, it's always like he's going to a planet, he's finding something, and then they're like, okay, we won't train him, but you have to help me. Like, I'll tell you this, but you have to help me. Next episode, I'll help you, but you have but you have to help me. It's like it's just like repeating. It's like really he's going there, doing something, and the episode ends. Like that's all we're getting, really. Mm-hmm. Like what's gonna be next episode? Like Moff Gideon's gonna come with his whirlwind of superior death troopers or whatever they are, and what's gonna happen there? I want the child, but don't come out until next episode. Then like that's it. Like it's just to keep going. Like from the beginning episode to like the end, it's like you have to help me to get this. I have to help you to get this. It's tiring. Like I'm like sitting back. I'm like, of course Ahsoka's gonna, like in the beginning of the episode when I saw that, I was like, I guess Din's gonna help Ahsoka free the village, and he did.
What if it's like each episode they keep trying to look for something, but it's symbolic that they don't have to keep looking no more? Because what? Because everything they need is right in front of each other. Grogu needs Mando, Mando needs Grogu.
Then that's shitty cop ending. Like
that ever happened?
What we've needed all along. It's like you're telling me that's the bullshit we watched this whole thing for 3+ seasons. That was the ending, Audrey. I would be like, Filoni, hand over your awesome Star Wars card, because this is bullshit. It's like, and then this is ridiculous.
And my other question is, because like you said, we only 3 episodes left, right? Mm-hmm. So like, when the fuck is Boba Fett gonna come back in this? Like, I know they didn't just show him turn around, like that's it for the season, right? Like, when's he gonna come back in here?
He's like, I'm done. I'm bald. I'm messed up. And you took my armor, and I don't want it back. Thank you. Good night.
He's like, I'm not even gonna fight for it. I'm good. I'm just gonna go.
I'm done.
Go eat some soup.
Otherwise, that's the stupidest fucking thing. Like, oh, he's alive. Just want to let you guys know. Like,
Hey guys, it's Boba Fett. Well, we
Might as
assume Boba Fett.
but there's that rumor of the series before this where it explains what he's been doing, and then the one like theory that I actually kind of liked is like, what if Boba Fett is tracking them this entire time, or been trying to find his armor or something, trying to hunt them down? Like, that would be kind of cool, but I don't think that's what it is.
I do feel like there's a possibility that he's been following them in his ship or something like this entire time, and maybe he's seen like just all this go down. He's like, "Oh yeah, that was a cool. You fought there in the forest, man. That was cool. Well, you blocked the lightsabers with your best card, bro. That was awesome, man. Yeah, I like that."
You cried too.
And then, to be honest, I forgot that Beskar could do that, like in Legends and shit. So when he did that, I was like, "Oh shit, wait, what? Did he just block that?" When I was like, "Oh yeah, that's a thing." Like that, that's pretty insane.
I knew it was resistant, but I didn't know it was that resistant.
It could be.
I think-
It could be the reason why Boba didn't go back for his armor. Because he's like, shit, I don't want my old armor anymore. I want that.
That's possible because he does have like he has pure Beskar, like she talked about, and that's actually like strong enough apparently that from what I've seen people say, it won't necessarily completely resist a lightsaber. Like if she was to hold it there, it would eventually go through. But it's better than it's like when Qui-Gon was going through the door in Phantom Menace. He had to like
Yeah.
he had to wait a little bit, They'd like sing a song. I'm like, okay, in a second, Obi-Wan, we'll be through. So I think it's like that. Yeah, that they need a little bit of time and they can cut through, but like just real quick when he's doing all that stuff.
But
And
you know what?
obviously-
That pole, that spear thing, also lines up for the Darksaber fight.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, that's why he got it. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
we were thinking that Ahsoka was gonna have to fight Gideon, but now I'm like, oh well, she doesn't have to anymore because he has that. He can fight him now. Assuming he doesn't have force powers. I don't think he does. Although
Does Gideon die into this?
I think so. I think that they are gonna introduce Thrawn as a bad guy in this series. I don't know if it's necessarily gonna be with Ahsoka and Sabine and Ezra, but I think he's gonna ultimately be like over Gideon and kind of take over as the bad guy, and Gideon might die, or if he doesn't die, get beat, and then maybe at the very end of the series we see like Thrawn like, so you found me here.
Or maybe he would want. Yeah, maybe Thrawn would want the child because you know how he likes to collect like trophies.
Just keep him on the shelf.
I bring the darkness to this show. I'm like, what if Thrawn like just is like, I don't have one of you in my collection.
Dear
And-
Lord, you have no.
He just keeps him in a cage.
My God.
Dance for me, child.
What if Thrawn is the one that reveals what the species is?
I know, but I think he does.
He was super smart and he just knew shit, huh? So he might. Yeah,
He
he
did.
might. That'd be cool.
I don't
Makes sense.
think like with Moff Gideon, like John Carlos already is talking about season 3, so he's not dying this season, so that's out the window. He wouldn't be talking about 3 if he died in season 2. I hate when actors do that. They go in interviews, like season 3 is going to be the best. How did we know? Like I thought we said you died in season 2. So I think Moff Gideon stays around. I don't think he lasts after the Mandalorian. I think Thrawn will come in. I think definitely Thrawn is above Moff Gideon. I don't know if they know of each other, or like Moff Gideon does have a backstory too. Like everybody has a backstory that we don't want to know about. Like Star Wars does not give us. For some odd reason, it just doesn't like giving backstories. It's just like throwing a Scavenger girl and a kid that was Kylo Ren, just like that. They throw us with 2 new characters, and here you figure it out how they got there. And they just drop pieces in the movies. And we're like, that's what we do. That's why I'm not connected to the Rey or Kylo. I'm not connected to those characters. Like Anakin, Ahsoka, definitely connected to. Even Grogu, because that's my child. I gave birth.
She couldn't tell a story, let alone giving a backstory.
You know what, Joey?
Yeah, man, it's interesting the possibilities that they could do with this show for sure. I do think it's gonna be Thrawn. I don't. I feel like what you're saying, Chris. I feel like they don't know. I think they probably know of each other, but I'm not sure if Gideon. I feel like Gideon is trying to get power for himself. Because I'm just starting to get this feeling that he wants certain powers and that he's using these clones and stuff so that he can have power. I think he's trying to get force power. I'm starting to think that he doesn't have force power, but he's trying to. I think he wants to be Vader. He wants to be Palpatine. I think that's what he's trying to do. He's building this like grand army. They're probably made of like Beskar and shit. I don't know. These like troopers. And I think he's trying to build like this grand army and try to be better than them. And like, oh, I have a dark saber. I have these clones. They're gonna make me a, the crazy M count body. Like I don't know. And
a bodysuit.
Yeah, like that's what I think is going on here. But I think that he's going to fail and be defeated. Maybe Baby Yoda's gonna have his tie and lightsaber and cut his hand off because we need somebody to get their hand cut off here, right? Star Wars. And yeah, I think he's gonna retreat and then Thrawn will like find him or something. He's like, "Oh, what's up, bro? You suck. Be under me now." I think it'll probably happen.
Do you think if that's true, if they're two separate entities, that Thrawn would kill Gideon?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
And then no, go ahead.
I think Thrawn is more powerful than Gideon.
Oh, for sure. But the one thing I am kind of curious about, because reading, and I know they don't pull a lot from the books, but if you read the Thrawn books, there's like the newer ones, he's not all that bad. The only reason he's working for the Empire is to ensure the safety of his own race. To me, that's his most prominent thing to do, is the survival of the Chiss. I'm kind of curious if that's going to play at all into the live action version, or if he's just going to be a ruthless Imperial, because if the Empire is destroyed, I don't see what Thrawn really gives a shit about still being.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, because Thrawn's not really evil. He's just more like he's playing for like his own benefit. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's what if they did introduce Thrawn, I don't think he's gonna be like a main villain like Moff Gideon. I thought Gideon was probably working for like Sidious or something. I don't know.
I think Gideon's probably most likely working for Sidious, or there's something that he knew Sidious was doing. That's what I think it is. I think he's working with stuff that Sidious was
like clones and stuff like that. Yeah.
And I think he thinks now he can be like, oh, I can oversee it, but what if Palpatine's like, oh, you thought you could be the leader and then he kills him? I don't know.
I think they are trying to tie in the sequels, and I think they're trying to explain the whole cloning process. I mean, they're gonna get into that probably like next season. I think that was the whole point of like the scene showing off like Baby Yoda. When they're like when Cara and all them are in the lab and they're explaining what's going on, and they see like the clones and stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's the whole point. Like, yeah.
And that thing in the tank looked a lot like Snoke. So, yeah.
I was seeing pictures, people saying that. Yeah. I couldn't tell though for the life of me. I was like zooming in, and I was like, "Is it because our TV's not 4K?" I'm just kidding, but I was like,
look at the head shape, and then like there was like a kind of scar on top of the head, and I was like,
Do you guys think it? Do you think it really should have to try and do the heavy lifting of not only being its own show, but to try and connect it to the sequels? Because if the sequels weren't planned and they're trying to plan to connect unplanned material that isn't even coherent, I feel like it's almost a little bit of a waste of time to invest in connecting it to the sequels in that way. Because they just kind of threw shit against the wall in the sequel trilogy.
I feel like they're not going to do the heavy lifting. I hope they don't do like too much. I think introducing that kind of thing where it's like this is happening in the background, so it explains at least like a few things that like people wonder about, like where the fuck did this even come from, where did that start, shit like that. I think that's fine. I hope they don't, because I think they're already doing enough heavy lifting of bringing in stuff from Clone Wars, Rebels, and the games, the You know, everything. The books, they're bringing in references from everything. So
We'll definitely get something with the First Order by the end of the season, because we're already hinted at that. You know, we're already starting it.
Oh,
What happened?
what do you mean starting the First Order?
Yeah, because Moff Gideon is there, still alive. You know, Thrawn is still out there. We're getting into the we're getting into 7, 8, and 9. You know, when we watched those movies, we didn't know who Rey was. You know, we didn't know. I don't know if she was in the comics before. I don't read the comics, so I can't say that is thing or something. I don't know. But we're definitely getting into the First Order and how it's not going to come about, but it's going to come about of Moff Gideon and then Thrawn. And then when Thrawn is overthrown, who comes over? Because how did Kylo become the First Order? How did Kylo become this Sith? You know, like, was he, like, we knew Sidious is alive, and I think Kylo did know Sidious was a clone too and lied. But who was before Kylo? You know, this is 30 years before those.
Who's gonna set it up? We're gonna start seeing who's setting it up.
Yeah, like who is setting it up and who is gonna notice setting it up? You know, Mando, Ahsoka, you know, Bo-Katan are still alive in this, and I know we hear Ahsoka's voice in The Rise of Skywalker, but I definitely think she's still alive. You know, I definitely think, I don't know who is still alive in that era still, but like I heard rumors for the next season of the Mando that she has a yellow lightsaber. Like she comes back and she has a yellow lightsaber before Rey. And I was like, you know, that wouldn't even be half bad because she deserves a fucking yellow lightsaber. Like, who the fuck is Rey? You know, like she's a Palpatine. Great for you, sweetheart. But Ahsoka deserves that yellow lightsaber. I'm sorry, she does. But
Movie.
She didn't get a backstory, so she deserves that yellow lightsaber. That's like probably one of the few things people are gonna remember her by. I personally like Rey, but
yeah, no, I hate Rey. I don't hate Rey. I just don't think she has enough story to be this.
oh yeah. Well, I don't
like
like that she's a Palpatine, but that's a whole different video.
That's all another thing. Like I don't
to see Ahsoka with the yellow lightsaber. That would be trippy.
Yeah, like I'm not bashing the movies. I just don't get Rey or Kylo's character. Like maybe if there was a backstory to them, definitely I'm all for it, you know, woohoo. But Rey with a yellow lightsaber at the end, I was like, is this what we're doing? This is what we're doing. Like, because just like in the Rogue One, like I don't know the Asian guy's name, I forgot his name.
Donnie Yen.
Yeah. But he says, I'm one with the Force is with me. Ahsoka said that in the Clone Wars to Rex. You know, so it's very compatible. It's very like together, really. Like a yellow lightsaber, we have to see it before Rey. You know, like
you're saying like everything's all connected and you're excited to see how it unfolds. But what leads up to the sequels. That's how I feel about it. I feel like they're gonna do that too. Like if they did an Ahsoka spinoff, I think maybe Ahsoka might be dead in the sequels. And then maybe they might show how she dies in her show, or who knows, maybe she'll die in Mandalorian. Like we really don't know.
I got a question for all of you then, following up with what you just said.
Probably not Mandalorian.
Do you want Ahsoka's death to be done by Ashley or by Rosario? Because I don't think Rosario deserves it in any fucking form. I think.
Okay, so let's get down to it. Ashley, you guys know I love Ashley. Physically, her facial features, she would not match Ahsoka. She's tiny. I'm 5'3", and when I met her, she's a tiny petite woman. She couldn't pull off Ahsoka. It just wouldn't work out. Also, too, so this is what I'm thinking, and I don't know if this is gonna sound bad, but this is just my personal opinion. I felt like they had to get an actress that had the facial features that Ahsoka would have, because realistically, if Ahsoka was
A living person.
live action, yeah, she wouldn't have facial features of you know, a Caucasian woman, you know what I mean? So I felt like maybe they wanted to get an actress that was colored, because if they would have gone a white actress and try to give her the facial features of Ahsoka, maybe there would have been backlash. That's what I was kind of thinking, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I just felt like they were like, let's just be safe and let's just get someone. And then besides the point, when you're watching Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, her physique is Ahsoka Tano. Like, it's perfect. Like, literally her body, her height, how thin she is. She basically looks like Rebels. The only part they messed up was her Leku, and the one thing that bothered me actually the most, believe it or not, was her eyes. You could kind of tell she's wearing contacts. You know the scene where where Mando is struggling to give Grogu the rock, and then she goes oh, I love first times are memorable, and then he calls them kid, and she goes Grogu, and then she walks away. At that specific scene, you can tell she's wearing contacts, like so, like it's so noticeable. That kind of bothered me, just because I was like, they couldn't do a better job at making her eyes blue. But see, that's something, as like, we're Ahsoka fans, we're gonna be so nitpicky about. Other people that are introduced here probably wouldn't even care about that, don't even notice that. Because like, we're looking for those stupid little details, you know what I mean? Like, where her blue eyes, her Leku lane, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I think Rosario Dawson was a really good choice. I just personally think maybe like they rushed maybe her costume, or even like, I know they said that they couldn't make her Leku long because of the stunts. But for me personally, and then Will was saying this, like, he felt like they probably could have used a stunt woman that could carry it. You know what I mean? Make it longer, or even just use like CGI to maybe make her makeup look more realistic, or even like her Leku make like longer. I don't know. I just feel like they could have done so much.
Yeah.
But again, like, anyway, sorry. But yeah, Joey, like, Ashley, we all love Ashley, but realistically, she wouldn't have been the best choice. That's just my opinion. Rosario too, like, oh, like, I felt like there were some scenes where I felt like she should have been a little bit more, maybe tried making her voice a little bit higher to match Ashley's, because I felt like it was a little deep. That kind of bothered me too. I was surprised Dave Filoni didn't like try to make her voice sound a little bit more like, because you know, so Ashley has like the sweetest voice ever, and like, yeah, that kind of bothered me too.
Well, it's not the live action. It was more of like, do you think overall, no matter who plays her, would you want her death to be in live action or animation is more what I'm getting at. Not so much that Rosario is playing. I said Ashley only because Ashley, I think if we see her death, I'd rather it be in animation.
I think so, because just realistically, things are just cooler in animation, especially an animated character. Because then too, it's like, if they give her a live action death, most likely it's probably not going to be such a theatrical thing that we want. You know what I mean? If it's animation, they can add like the dramatic badass like music, and they can add like all this like crazy stuff to make you really feel the moment. I feel if it's live action, it's gonna be such a, like, we're just gonna have her like laying there and like and then it's gonna be over with, you know what I mean? And it's gonna, I hope she doesn't die in The Mandalorian. I hope if she does die, it is her own show, or it's like in Rebels, a continuation. But yeah, I don't want it to be live action. I wish it will be animated. But yeah.
I honestly think, like, me personally, I don't think she's going to die on screen, honestly. I know a lot of people were like worried about that when they saw Rise of Skywalker and saw her voice. But I'm like, maybe she died of natural causes, maybe she's still alive and her voice is just coming through. But I also think that she'll be like the one like force.
But it would be dope if she didn't die of natural causes. Like, what if she like sacrifices herself to save someone? Or who knows, what if she sacrifices herself later to save Ezra, if Ezra's around with Thrawn?
This is my point. I feel like so many Jedi now have died that way, except for maybe Yoda got to die basically peacefully.
Straight chilling in his little hut, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much all of them have died like, oh, I gotta sacrifice myself, I gotta get sliced by a lightsaber, I gotta get killed by clones. Let's have like one Jedi, especially Ahsoka, who I think is very, very appreciated by.
Jedi way though. They're so selfless.
Yeah, she is selfless. I get that, but I'm like, what if she just saves people, doesn't die? I don't know. Like,
so you just want her to like retire? Like,
yeah, I think she'll just retire.
On her couch, eating some macaroons, and then she hears Rey calling, and she just goes, "Bitch, you got this. Don't even worry."
I think she will.
Like, I say that I think I asked you guys this, Eric and Audrey.
Yeah.
Do you think she's alive? I ask people that because to me, she is not dead by a long shot in The Rise of Skywalker. I don't know where she is in that timeline, because you have to add the bird, Morai. What happened to Morai? Morai is the light side. The woman is in Ahsoka, you know? And like, we have the World of Worlds that we just I always go back to the World of Worlds because it's so important. It's one of the most important episodes in Star Wars, and no one cares about it. Everybody goes, "Yeah, that's the World of Worlds."
I love that episode.
No, I do too, but no one cares about it. Like, we don't see that talked about at all. So that's why I go back to that, because Ahsoka, Ahsoka could just go back. She has the key. She has Morai. Morai is such an important figure also in Star Wars, and no one cares about that bird or doesn't even know of that bird, you know? And it's such a shame that like I said last week on the show, guys, I said that I hope Morai is in there, you know, and thank God he showed up, because she watches over Ahsoka everywhere she goes. You know, who found Ahsoka when she fought Vader? Like, Ezra didn't. Morai was up there chirping. It was like, bitch, look under there, motherfucker, look under there. You know, like, it wasn't Ezra that found her. It was the bird. So I feel like she's not going to die in the Rise of Skywalker because she is the light side of the Force. Like,
it would be nice for her to have a peaceful ending after like everything you see Ahsoka go through, and then she does have like a peaceful.
And then
they don't show her death. She's just free.
She just is.
yeah, that's my other.
Like, she's just there. Like, I don't think she'll die. Like, I don't think someone's gonna shank her in the stomach. Like, I don't think so. Like, I was wondering during that fight, like, she's gonna fake her death again. Like, Dave Filoni, oh, here we go, another mystery with Ahsoka. Like, just like in when Clone Wars went off, like, Ahsoka lives in Rebels, yay! Like, I thought he was gonna do something like that. Thank God he didn't, because then I would have went to his house and like hurt him. But like, you know, but like, just like that, I still think she's alive. You know, I don't know what she's doing in that time frame. You know, but the World of Worlds is still out there, and like, just like the Lego, like, she wasn't in the Lego series for some reason. Why wasn't she in there?
Oh, I know, that kind of bothers me too. I don't like when they do that, because it makes me feel like, oh, Ahsoka isn't good enough. Or like, dude, like in Downtown Disney. Oh, this is another topic. I'm so sorry, Joey. Real fast. Okay, when you go to Downtown Disney, right? In the Trader Post, there's all these characters, and you know, like the Galaxy Edge dolls you always see.
Yeah.
Ahsoka's only online. She's not in the store, and like they just never like I've been going there since they opened the thing, and I don't think she's ever been there, and that just bothers me. They literally have every single characters I don't even care about, but then they just don't have Ahsoka, and to me that bothers me. It's like, what are you guys trying to say?
She might be there now though, because like I said, the one benefit about her being in live action,
Mando Monday.
Yeah.
How much
is that people will
next week?
No, yeah, I think that's why they put her in the Mandalorian, because they really wanted to show love to Ahsoka, you know, to get more.
Watch the live actions.
Also, I think they're gonna have a big Mando Monday tomorrow. You know, can't wait for the merch. But like, they're just getting her ready for something else. Like, she just had, at the end of that episode, she looked like she was ready to go kick some ass somewhere. Like, she knew where Mando and Guru were going, but she knew something else was coming. So I feel like Dave Filoni just dropped like not a hint, but like, how can I say?
A teaser.
Yeah.
He's definitely foreshadowing something's gonna like happen.
Yes, something's coming bigger, you know, in the future, because I feel like this is introducing her to live action, and just like the Kenobi series, she's going to definitely be in the Kenobi series flashbacks. So we're definitely going to see her maybe in there. Rosario did sign on to a multi-year deal with Disney, so she'll be definitely doing different things. So like, that will just get people more hyped of the character. You know, this was just a step, like introducing her to live action. Like, not a lot of people know Ahsoka, you know, because we don't watch the animated series, you know. So this, like, Joey was like, well, I'm a little off about her, you know, her appearance, stuff like that, seeing her live action. So this is just the first step. Okay, like, Chris likes her, Eric, Audrey like her, Will likes her, but Joey, you know, he's a little iffy about her, you know. But then maybe next time he sees her, he'll be like, yo, man, you know, she was so cool, you know, she was like eating pumpkins, you know.
Yeah, whenever Chris said earlier, I just don't think she's gonna die. I think she has that protection. First off, with Mariah and like the daughter and everything. Second off, she has already died, technically.
She did.
And she was brought back to life. So I'm like, do we need another tragic death of Ahsoka? I don't think so.
Are you guys saying like she's gonna live forever? Or you say she's gonna live for a very long time, or I think
she can die peacefully somewhere, some other time after like Rise of Skywalker. She's just like some old lady on some planet. chilling.
Yeah, Rey is at Ahsoka's hut and Ahsoka dies.
She's like, "Oh, hey, who are you? You're Ahsoka. Oh, nice to meet you." And she
Like,
tells her some stories,
See,
and then
you know what wouldn't bother me at all if Ahsoka just lived throughout Star Wars, like she never died.
that'd be
Maybe
interesting.
they don't show it.
What if
That
she's
would be
the
kind of interesting.
daughter of the Force?
That's what I'm saying. Thank you, Joey. Thank you.
I think that's pretty cool because Morai is like the spirit of the daughter, isn't she?
Yes.
Like it's never been confirmed, but I think we can.
Yeah. And if that resurrected her, there's a possibility that like she could, yeah. But although
She could-
technically we do see that she's aging, but I don't know, maybe possibly she like becomes part of the Force and then she becomes like the new
She
daughter.
becomes- Come on, people, get with me on this. Get on board the
Yeah.
Christian.
Anakin wasn't in 9 because he is the father.
Hmm.
Fucking with you. There's no way. The other thing, because Chris, you mentioned the world between worlds or whatever. I like that Ahsoka survived, but I do think the world between worlds is one of those things where it just complicates the Star Wars universe. If it's a weird thing because it's in Rebels, so not many people know about it. But the potential for people to just easily go, well, we can make an alternative timeline that 7 through 9 is just an alternative future. Now let's make 7 through 9 as another. But maybe if Obi-Wan died, and it's like,
Maybe he'll.
where it's like alternative timelines, like kind of like with Marvel and comic books. There are different timelines and then they reset. So I wonder if they would ever try to really dig into the world between worlds and be like, hey, let's go back in time and then fuck with this. And then here we go.
Like-
I actually wanted them to in the sequel trilogy. I wanted them to show the world between worlds.
But you also get Legos, though. If you watch the Legos, Life Day Lego show, it shows that. Absolutely. It's the world between worlds, but just.
But then it's like, well, then I feel like Ahsoka would never go back to change things because it would kind of like, we don't know if she does change things would be better. I feel like she's wise and like I feel like that's not her. I feel like she'll just accept it and be strong enough to accept it and like move on. I don't think she would change things. I would love if they changed things though with Rey and Kylo.
Yeah, like making the real Solo twins. I like Rey and Kylo. I just thought that their story was fumbled a lot.
Well, everybody's story was fumbled.
They were great characters. They had a lot of great potential to be really great characters. And yeah, it makes me sad that they didn't plan it correctly. But I mean, again, I said this last time with you guys. Like, I feel like it's so hard to create a story, like all the pressure. But yeah, honestly, I'll just say, yeah, I felt like they didn't really try hard enough. I feel bad when I say that just because I know I don't know all the work, but obviously there's so much work that goes into these movies and shows, and it's like, who the fuck am I to say like this is crap? You know what I mean?
I think you have every right to, because it's like, here's the thing. You're I'm not saying George didn't have help. He had a lot of help. But if one man with one vision can create those 6 films and build out the world primarily on his own in his mind, the corporation known as the Mouse should be able to do that with every single resource that they have.
Yeah.
I think it is. When people say it's toxic to criticize, no, it's not. When you consume something,
Toxic to criticize. I think everyone's like should be able to say their own opinion. I think it's weird when people. I just don't like when people bash each other. But if my friend goes, "Oh, this is kind of like blah blah," I'm like, okay, like it doesn't bother me. But I just think the problem is that some people take it too far online. You know what I mean? Like they want to bash the actress, suggesting things about the writers. You could just say you didn't agree with it. You wish it could have been better. I just think when people get so like
personal.
Yeah, then it's like, okay, like Star Wars is make believe, like calm down.
It's like it's not gonna kill you if your favorite character wasn't how you exactly wanted it. Like you'll be fine. Hopefully they'll hear what people say that's constructive criticism and they'll make changes, which I think that Dave Filoni and John Favreau will do if they see like, okay, well, people didn't like this, they didn't like this. Let's try and do this for whenever we do this next, you know. So I think they will do that.
I think they, like what you're saying, Will, and even Favreau said, like, they take what fans like into consideration, which to me, I didn't feel that from any of the sequel trilogy team. And talking to friends at Lucasfilm, there was this arrogance to a lot of those people that were like, fuck you guys. And even when I was talking, and I won't say who it was, but it's a higher up, when we were discussing things around the time of The Last Jedi, there was this sense, and I've heard it from multiple people at the company. It was all about the future and fuck the past, to put it bluntly. And now I think they're really starting to be like, maybe we shouldn't have had that mindset.
It's funny that you say that because like this little Kylo Ren literally says that. It's like kill the past if you have to.
Literally, I was just thinking that. Yeah.
It's kind of funny that he says that.
I think that was their mentality, and I think that's why that was there. Because they're like, oh, it's all about the new generation. It's like, no, it's about both. You can have both. There are ways. Mandalorian, in a lot of ways, does it, but again, it's that kind of storytelling where it's really repetitive, and it doesn't feel like it's going much. We're seeing really cool things, and I'm glad we are. And I know people are like, well, you're just not satisfied. You can't be satisfied. It's like, no, it's just, I appreciate good storytelling. Clone Wars, great storytelling. Rebels, great storytelling. That's all newer era. Mandalorian is getting a bit repetitive for my personal taste. And I think it needs to start really having some resolution, especially this far into the show. It just seems.
I honestly think that this next episode, if they get to the scene still, I'm hoping they do in this next episode, that it will definitely change the trajectory a little bit. Because we might see a change in Grogu, possibly definitely learn some new things about his past probably. And at the most we'll see Moff Gideon probably show up, you know. So that'll definitely change how everything's going for sure. And he'll probably go back, get Cara Dune and Grief Karga and be like, maybe some of the Tusken Raiders and shit, and be like, hey guys, we need to fucking, get some Mandalorians and like, let's go fucking get this guy. I just
want to see Grogu start tossing bodies. You know what I mean? I just want to see him.
Yeah, he can do it.
I just want to start wrecking people, dude.
And he gets less tired now when he does it. So
he doesn't have to take naps.
Yeah. So we'll see. And also before we're like done, I just want to talk about my absolute favorite scene in that fucking episode was him and Grogu playing fucking catch. And he was so bad.
They did that scene so well. I was telling Eric this Target. They did Grogu so well in this episode. They made him so lively. You know what I mean? Like it was just so good. I really appreciated it.
When he said his name and he's like,
yes, I died, dude. Oh my god.
I remember. It was so good. Remember for the season, Joey was like, "It's like, what else could they possibly do? They can't make him any cuter." I was like, "Oh, they did it. I don't know what to tell you." Like, oh man, yeah.
They do They really do.
And I know that Chris, you said that you're, Grogu's father, but like Mando had such an amazing father moment when he's like, "Yeah, did you see that? There we go, kid."
Grogu's like, Chris, who?
He was so excited about it.
What? My name's Grogu? What? Like, so fast. He really is. Now, wait, I got another thing before we go. Are they going to change all the products to Grogu now, not the child?
I don't know. Because with Rey, they did. They never said Rey Skywalker on any of the newer products, so maybe not.
Child.
I mean, maybe some of the new ones that come out, but probably not the ones that they're already producing. They'll leave those most likely.
I don't care if they change it or not. I like the little puns people are making. They're like the Groger, and you know what I mean, the cute little edits.
Grogu to me sounds like Goku, which is another one of my favorite shows.
Well, it sounds like Lucas Grogu.
And he's similar to Goku if you think about it. He's a little alien child who has a adopted father. He's very powerful. I'm just saying. Yeah, is Mando going to be Dragon Ball Z now? See.
I else hope that it was gonna be another Y name.
I think Grogu's really cute. I think it matches him.
I love him. It's my baby.
I only like it because of how he responds to his name. Because he's really
so happy.
I actually really love the reveal too, and I think that's one of my favorite moments so far of her as Ahsoka. And I think it showed like her one when she was sitting there like just looking at him and they were talking in their
Oh
heads.
my god, yes.
And then she just straight up like told him like she didn't even think about it. She was like, "Oh yeah, Grogu told me," and he's like, "Grogu." Like I just love that moment. I think everybody thought this. Everybody thought exactly what Mando did. They're like, "Grogu, huh?" Just like, huh?
I did. I was like, "My baby's name is Grogu."
Right?
What?
Yeah, I think
Not
everybody.
No, they did so well, especially directing that scene though. You have to admit, like usually when other movies try to do scenes like that, where they're just like, it's kind of annoying. But honestly, it was annoying. Like she did it so well, Rosario. I enjoyed it. I rewatched it like 4 times.
Yeah, I think that scene was probably the best that she did. There was that, and then when she insinuated about Anakin, and she talked about Yoda. Those like 3 moments where I was like, okay, that's some good Ahsoka stuff there for sure in terms of like the emotion. But yeah, they got to work on some more of the other stuff. I totally agree, and we'll see if she comes back in this season. I don't know. I feel like that might be it personally to me for this season. But we'll see.
I might show up. Just so you know.
Yeah, you're gonna have one of those things where you end up dying, Chris, and the Manda's gonna go and have the fuck is his name?
No, they're gonna find a picture. Grogu's gonna have like a little photo or something, a little torn picture of Chris. It's all wrinkled and like half burnt, but you can tell it's Chris. It's so funny.
And my Baby Yoda onesie. Yes.
I was thinking it was gonna be a Din Djarin and the child moment where it was gonna be like Din's flying up with him in his arms, and he's like, "He might have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy." Like Yondu and Star Wars. And then Chris will be dead on the planet.
My God.
Sorry, Chris. I just really want the ending of this whole show to just be Din and the child just walking off together in the sunset, just having.
He has a custom helmet on. He has a custom little Mandalorian helmet on with his ears popping out.
Dude, that'd be dope. I just want to see the child just wreck people at least once in this season. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm here to take cookies and kick gas, and I'm all out of cookies. You know what I mean? Like something like that.
That's how I'll get him to do it. He's gonna throw some cookies at the bad guys. They're gonna catch him. He's like, "Oh, I want that." And he's gonna just hurl them all over the place.
Cold, chokehold.
He's gonna have a little silver ball and some cookies, and he's like, "Get him, kid!" And he's gonna just fuck everybody up for him.
Or he starts using like the ball to like kill people. I don't know.
That's what I thought was gonna happen. Honestly, when he put it in his pocket, I thought that somebody was gonna use it to kill somebody.
Very dark person, Audrey. Very dark.
I'm realistic. I'm just kidding. I mean, dude, like, I don't know, Jedis are scary, dude. Or even like Force sensitive people, like, or even just like in Star Wars universe, like so much violence happens. The planets are being blown up. I mean, it's not pretty. Like, a lot of people are screaming, dying. There's blood. Like, that's just the world.
It is. It's the world of the world.
Speaking of those little like torture devices, that was pretty fucking intense. Like, they're sitting there being shocked and shit. I was like, oh, whoa.
Yeah, like
it was like Game of Thrones, and I'm not going to reveal what it was from, but if you remember,
yes,
you know, Khaleesi, and then there's that, yeah,
yeah,
remind me of that.
It looked like a comfortable massage chair to me.
Yeah. That thing when it killed me so fast, I'm like, you know, I just give up. I'm just gonna let it shock me. I'm done. Like,
yeah, that village thing is kind of weird though too, because it's like this random guy, and like, oh, I guess you're the leader now.
Yeah, like I didn't love that part of the episode. That's the part that I didn't really care for. Like, I didn't like the magistrate or the other guy. Like, the other guy was kind of weird to me. He's just like, so who do you think's gonna win? I'm just like, okay. Like, who's this random uncle who you watch football with on like Sunday or something? Like, what?
Felt like they were having those scenes where like with them talking because they're trying to show people the armor he was wearing. Did you guys look at the armor the guy was wearing? Didn't it look kind of distinctive? I don't know.
It looked kind of similar
Familiar.
to what?
It looked familiar. I don't know where I seen that. I seen that before, but I don't know where I seen it.
And somebody did point something out that I do want to talk about, is that apparently on her forehead, she had a certain symbol on her head. I think it has to do something with possibly the son or the father or something.
The magistrate?
Apparently, I don't know. People were pointing that out. I saw somebody say it might be connected to that or something. So I'm like, what? And she works for Thrawn, so like, is Thrawn like getting up to something having to do with like that kind of shit? Like, I don't know.
Mm.
And you did talk about earlier how in like the books and everything, his motivations were to like help save his people. What if his people are like dead and now he really has nothing? You know, I mean, what if that happened? And now he's just like, I don't really care. I'm just gonna take over the universe or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that could be the reason why it pushes him to be such a ruthless.
Yeah, he might come back and this planet's like destroyed or something. Who knows?
What if it was the New Republic that
Who
attacked
destroyed it?
and he's
Then
like,
I was thinking that too.
fuck them all up. I don't care anymore.
Because they probably worked with the Sith or something, just like he did with like the Empire, and they probably like went and destroyed it or something. I think that's how you could possibly be a bad guy, like definitive bad guy in this. But we'll see.
we're all dead right now. We're like, we'll see.
All right, this shit's done. It's a shit show, and it's been the Jabbering Jawas podcast.
Yes. This is the Jabbering Jawas.
With you and the shit show.
Check out my pin page.
Always.
Oh yeah, sorry. Plug yourselves real quick. Yeah, plug yourselves.
It'll be.
Oh.
You guys can follow me on social medias, Instagram, Chris_Scevoli, SCEVOLITANOSHOW. And the Scevoli I have awesome pins on there. Anakin and Ahsoka just sold out. I'm so excited. It's one of my favorite pins. And yeah, on Twitter, you can follow me on the Scavolitano Show. And then check me out, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you can find the show. And yeah, my YouTube channel is coming next year. My blogging is coming next year. Oh yeah, I'll be twerking on screen for the first time. You heard. But love you guys. Thank you for having me. Boop, boop.
See, he's so good. Like, it's natural. I hate it. It's like I'm just like an awkward little bean. Okay. For anyone who is watching, you should check out our pin page, TEAMTANOALIVE. On Instagram, we make really cool Star Wars pins. Yeah. See? I'm just so bad at this. That's all you get.
Hey, this has been the Jabbering Jawas.
And for any of you fucking stalkers out there that want to follow me, at Joe J. Clark on Twitter, even though I don't really do much.
I always just put it in the bio though, so it's all good.
Oh, they can say their stuff, but I can't. Come on.
I mean, I put yours in the bio all the time, so I mean, they should see it. You know, I mean, if you want to say it, go ahead. It's all good.
Yeah, I want to say it.
Ours in the bio?
Yeah, we'll put all of your guys'.
Yeah, I'll put them all in the bio.
If you also want more Star Wars pins, at Harris Hideout. And that's been the Jabbering Jawas. Fade out.
May the force be with you always. All right.